Hello everyone. In the last video you already learned about the basics of SketchUp. In this video we'll go one step further and learn about V-Ray as well. V-Ray is an incredibly powerful renderer, but it's also very easy to use, and it combines real-time and photoreal rendering. For those who are complete beginners to SketchUp and V-Ray, I'll put up an image for reference that will show how V-Ray works for SketchUp. So here, as you can see, we have one room. The left one shows how it looks in SketchUp and the right one shows how it looks after we used V-Ray. So there's a it's big difference in both the pictures. I'll put up one more comparison picture so that there's more clarity. Now again, the left one shows how it looks in SketchUp and the right one shows how it looks after we used V-Ray. So you get true to life lights, cameras and materials, which gives real life like characteristics to your model in V-Ray. Basically you'll get a vision of how the real thing will look before it's even built. So the high-end materials in V-Ray provide better quality and lifelike output basically. So I'll open the V-Ray asset editor first. All I need to do is a left click here and wait for it to open. Okay, so here we go. So this is the dialog box, and first is the material tab. So click on the materials tab and then click on this arrow in the left hand side, and a sub window will appear. So here you can see the inbuilt material that V-Ray is providing, and secondly you can also see the create tab through which you can create a material of your liking, like you can create generic or emulsive. Emulsive can be used to create lighting and stuff. Also you can see car paint here. There's bumpy as well, which can be used to define groovings in walls or tiles, and you can use all of these to create your own material. In the bottom left you can see a file like icon. From there you can also import other files as well. So right here, as you can see, one more interesting thing is these brick designs which aren't available in SketchUp. These are basically the files that V-Ray offers, which you can apply on any material. These are high definition and high end materials. Here you can see like this emissive material, and which is basically used in lights. So the light basically won't have a color of its own because this is SketchUp, but if you want to show a glowing bulb, for that you can use the emissive material. And also here there are some LED materials. After that there's carpet. You can apply material to carpet, but how to get the fibers, and carpet's bumpy effect, like we'll talk about that after this, on how to produce that kind of effects. Now you can see the curtains. Here are the curtains as well. Now most of the material that you require will be available here, like here you can see glass, gold, other metals, leather, water is here, and much more can be accessed through here. After that, let's get to lighting. I'll close this one. We'll close the left hand pane and open the right hand pane. First you can see here sunlight, which is present by default, but as you'll add more lighting to your model, all of those lights will appear below the sunlight, below or above, in the lights pane. And even from here you can turn off the sunlight or change its shade a little bit. All of that can be done from here. Now as I clicked on sunlight, it shows that currently sunlight's color is white. So to change the color, simply click on the color box, and from this color picker choose the desired color for the sunlight. Here some recent color selections which I did are present as well. So from there I'll choose warm shade, and here you can see on the object a little warm effect is visible. So you can do all this by going to the color picker, and besides the color picker is a box through which you can change the intensity of the light as well. But by default the intensity is usually the best, but of course it depends upon you what kind of intensity you want. You can also flip the switch here to quickly switch off the light and show a night view in the model. Now also there's the this was the switch I was talking about. Now also there's the geometry tab. In geometry, the first section, like I just told you about the carpet and the fibers or a rug effect, that you can add from here. When we'll add on effects, they'll appear in here. Now the next important thing is V-Ray settings, so we'll get to that now. Here you can see interactive render option. Interactive rendering automatically updates the rendered image in real time as you make changes in your scene. I'll show you practically how it works. It can shift camera angles or do some changes in the model. All of that will be reflected in real time in this small window here. Here I can zoom in as well. So this interactive render is very useful as it allows us to quickly view how our model looks. For example, you don't want to render the whole thing, you just want to know how the model will look if you change a light within it, a single light. For that you don't need to change the do the whole rendering again, so for that you will be able to use interactive rendering. That is basically the purpose. Now from here you can start and stop. I'll just turn it off now. Here now there are some more options like quality. You don't have to change much here. People stress a lot about these settings, but basically the default settings are here, as you can see. Now you can set it to very high and rapid. That will be more than enough for you. If you are having a good PC, you can create high quality outputs. Now as you can see, there is a denoiser as well here. Basically when you render something, you can have fine grainy pixels. If you don't want that and rather you wanna have a smooth texture, so for that you can enable it. Now here two options, NVIDIA AI and V-Ray, are available. I'll suggest using the inbuilt V-Ray denoiser if your graphic card is not that high end. You'll also get good quality if you're using a high end graphic card. So now we'll get to camera. There's camera here. In camera there's basic stuff like what kind of view you want and what kind of angles or effects you want in your scene. Like you can see there's the basic depth effect and all the other options. These are I haven't changed these ones, these are set to default. Now when you start working with V-Ray and SketchUp, then the default settings are more than sufficient. Now we'll move on to the render output. Here we can do some adjustments in the default settings, of course. Like you can change the save frame, you can make some changes here. Like if you want a vertical frame, then you can select this portrait mode and it will change the frame like this. Now if you want a render output, it will be portrait. Here you can see it in the interactive render menu, but I'll suggest keeping it to widescreen, which is 16:9. It will be best for you in long term as well, and it looks as well. That orientation is basically used everywhere. Now you can see the animation, which will be useful only if you make an animation in SketchUp. But for animations and video, I'll suggest that you use Lumion. So also you can open this right arrow and view some more settings here. Now as I have kept the quality at very high, so all these settings are enabled, but as soon as I lower the quality, some changes can be seen here. Now these little settings, you'll have to practice the use of these settings, as every scene requires a different set of settings. Like if you have made a scene with the settings that I tell you, and you want to add just even a single light, so that can change the whole render of the model. Like it may increase the brightness or highly increase the exposure, so you have to keep that in mind and practice for that. So I'll just tell you some basic things like quality denoiser, that's more than enough for the settings. So don't go that much in depth with the settings. As soon as you get more expert, when using V-Ray and SketchUp, you'll able to distinguish between what kind of settings you need. So now I'll just close this window, and now this button is used to start or stop a non-interactive render. Like you want to start a render, you can click on this button and the rendering will start. This is pretty basic. Also you can stop the rendering from here. Now I'll close this as well. Now this again is the interactive rendering button which I just explained. Now here is Chow's Cloud. So Chow's Cloud is a cloud rendering surface for V-Ray software. Cloud rendering allows you to send your render jobs to Chow's group's rendering service instead of using your own hardware. So if you have a good PC, you won't be needing this, and what this will actually do is export your project and render it with the hardware of the Chow's group, and I'm pretty sure this service isn't free. So then we have the viewport render and the frame buffer. This is basically the window that appears when we start rendering. Now suppose you want to render only a particular portion of the model, like the face of this lady. Now the rest of the model you want to ignore. Now just I'll select it using the render region option and click on render last, and it will render only the selected region like this and ignore the rest. So now if I remove this and render again, now the rendering of the whole region will start again. So we use this option basically because for example, if we add a light or a chair or some other element to the model or a material to it, and we want to know how it will look and ignore the rest of the region, so for that we will use this render region option. There is not okay, there's also a batch render, same thing, just multiple rendering instead of single. So moving on, there's a rectangular light. Now different lights will have different types of effects. Right now I'll show you how this rectangular light works. This is rectangular plane light. It's like a cove light which can be used in false ceilings. The effect of those lights is given like this. Like I will scale this and transform into small strips, and also scale it in length and width according to my needs and according to the needs of the cove that it's being put into. Then there's sphere lights. These can be used if you want to give lighting to a bedside lamp or a bulb. Now I'll place it here. If you want to move it, move using the move tool and place it around how you like it. Okay, here we go. Now there's a spotlight. A spotlight is a powerful light. For example, when you go to theaters, there are small lightings which can be directed so that it hits only a small area. It lights up only a small area. So this can be created easily like this. Now there are IES lights which need to be imported, and as soon as I click on it, the Windows Explorer will appear and you need to import that light now. Now these lights will be provided to you guys by us in the drive, of course, with images probably, and you can get these from over there. You will be given all of these, so be sure to try these lights yourself. Right now I'll just open any of it. So I just opened 30 number light. Now it may look like it's near, but actually it's a little far from the region, so we need to bring it closer now. So here we go. So here now you can move it with the reference to the head of the lady, so that that is also an easy way to place objects. Now there's the Omni light. This is a normal light. There's nothing to explain about it. The sphere light will give 360-degree light, and basically omni is also the same. Now there's a dome light as well, which provides light above a plane, so there won't be any lighting below the surface of the light. It will give light above the surface only. So then there's a mesh light. What it does is, wait, I'll illustrate by creating a text. I'll just type V-Ray and place it like this and move it a little. So I'll just put up a temporary texture on it. Now when the text isn't selected, the mesh light won't be operatable, but as soon as you click on the text, it will become operatable, and the text will change into that form. It will become mesh light. So that is how you create mesh lights. You can even use other objects for that. Then there are infinity planes. These planes are like, suppose you create a carpet here. So I'll actually make one. So I'll use the rectangle tool to create a carpet. Now this is created. Now after creating it, we'll just select it. Actually, we don't need to select it. We'll put a material over it, and we are gonna browse through these materials and find a suitable carpet material in the V-Ray assets. So here I'm trying to find the carpet materials. Just scrolling through. Okay, here we go. So I'll select this one, and I need to drag it to the right hand side where the materials are there, where the list is there. So I'll just drag it there, and it will become usable in SketchUp as well, as you can see in the materials box. Now I'll just use it, and using the paint bucket tool, I'll paint the surface. Now this doesn't look like the furry surface yet, so I'll just check the dimensions in the V-Ray asset editor again. So here it is 200 centimeter, and in the materials pane, as you can see, it is only 10. So I'll change that to 200 centimeter, and it will convert by itself, like you can see. Now I'll have to make it a group. I'll select it and right click. Now click on make group. So this is now one single entity, and I'll click on add fur to selection. Now as you can see, it is giving a risen up kind of look, and this will not be the fur will not be visible in SketchUp, but as soon as we'll render it, like I'm doing it right now, here you go. So furry like texture, grassy texture is it can be seen. So I'll just close it right now. Now while we are at it, I'll also show you the light, the V-Ray mesh light. So if I click on render, wait a second for it. Now as you can see, it's kind of glowing, the mesh light. So this is how the mesh light will look when you render it. So moving on, now its intensity and lighting can be changed from here. So I'll tell you how you will be able to change the intensity from here. So here it's written mesh light. So I'll change the name here, which it will just help us to locate stuff easily, and just for reference purposes, like we'll know that a light object is there that has V-Ray written on it, and we'll be able to locate it easily. So this will become handy when you have more than one light sample of same type. So now we can change its color, like I have changed it to blue. Also you can change the intensity from the box besides the color picker, like I have made it 80. So now there are other lights, Omni, IAS, which you can also change the intensity of. Just keep experimenting different intensities, which will help you find different combinations. So now I'll just render it for you and show you how the change in color and intensity will affect the render. So here you see. Now moving to the rectangular light, so its color can be changed from here as well. Now if you want that this light shouldn't be seen, you can click on here invisible. Now what it will do is that it will make the source of the light invisible, but you'll still be able to see the light itself. For example, the bulb won't be there, but its light will be there. So this was the lighting part. Now we'll move on. I'll just close it, and after that these are all the views of SketchUp. They are here, top view, side view, bottom, right, and so on. Now the last and final thing is that sections. So section planes cut a model along a plane so that you can peer inside the model without moving or hiding any geometry. In a 3D model, basically an active section plane hides everything on one side of that plane. So I'll show you how it will work. I'll pull up the plane vertically a little bit and show you how this will work. Using the move tool, I'm pushing it up. So here you can see the lady is also cut in half, and the V-Ray is also sectioned like this. So for greater understanding of how you can use the section tool, I'll put up two pictures side by side that will show you how the section tool will work. Here you go. Now like in the left you can see the house before using the section tool, and in the right you can see how it looks after you do it. So one more picture I'll place of vertical sectioning. So here you can see three ovens rather. Also I'll give you another example, verbal example. Like you can cut a building vertically to see the inside rooms of several floors at once. So that will give you an example, and I hope that you are getting what I am saying. So this was all about V-Ray, all the tools, rendering, lights, textures, and sections as well. So this was it for this video. Be sure to keep watching the coming videos as well, so that you can get greater understanding of various tools in SketchUp. Now we are going to build on all the concepts that were told in the basics video, in the SketchUp video and the V-Ray video. So now you have basic understanding of what all the tools are and what they do. After this we'll work on importing, creating houses, creating geometry, adding chairs, adding floor plans, and different stuff as well. So be sure to watch those videos as well. So that's it for this video. Thank you.